even if I do 3 or 4 pull-ups or chin-ups, I get the elbow pain that lasts for several days that prevents me from doing them more often than maybe once a week. Is there any workaround or?
Well, I don't know. I can't answer that because I don't know what you mean by a pull-up.
Okay. Overhand or underhand, either.
This is
either
a pull-up.
right.
This is a chin-up.
Right, I do
you
either
do them
one.
dead hang?
Yes.
From absolute straight elbows to chest in contact with the bar?
Not quite chest, no. Just chin over the bar.
Well, then my first suggestion would be to reduce the number of attempted, because you're doing 1 or 2 decent chin-ups and then 2 shitty ones.
Right.
Right? And you're doing that how many sets?
3.
Well, why don't you do like 10 singles with good form
Okay.
and see what happens to that.
Okay.
And you get 10 singles with good form. The next time you do chin-ups, do a double and 9 singles with good form. And then 2 doubles and 8 singles with good form. And pretty soon you're doing 10 doubles with good form.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, try that. I don't know what else it could be. Nobody else usually gets trouble just with a few chin-ups. You're talking about golfer's elbow, right? Are you talking about golfer's elbow?
Point again.
Point at it again, because that's not the right place.
It depends on if it's overhand or underhand. One
Where
of
does-
them it's one way it's the other.
That's weird.
I never heard of that.
Can you do lat pull downs?
I can't, yeah.
Does it hurt?
No.
Just do those for now.
You have access to one?
Not in my garage, no.
One second. All right.
Well, try it my way, see what happens. You didn't point at the right spot on your elbow. All right, here's one spot, and here's the other spot. All right, this is tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis. This is golfer's elbow or medial epicondylitis. This is flexor tendon inflammation. This is extensor tendon inflammation. And they're in one of those 2 places. But you kind of pointed somewhere in the middle that leads me to believe it might be your squat that's doing it. So, yeah, it was a shitty question. You're right. You probably shouldn't have asked that, Mike.
I hope I do better. I was curious, in the class, we never learn how to fail with a squat. And
No,
we never learn
you
how
don't.
to dump the bar.
No, you don't.
Okay. And why
No,
is it?
you don't, because you're supposed to be smarter than that.
Uh-huh.
Okay? You're not supposed to fail with the squat.
Right.
You're supposed to make better plans. You're not supposed to be handling weights that you fail with. You're supposed to be training,
Yep.
right? You're not supposed to be trying something to see if you can do it. And
Okay.
you think, oh shit, I can't do it. So you bail out from underneath it. No, we're not gonna teach you that.
That's for meets. That's what meets are for.
That's for spotters at meets
We
are
have
for.
5 spotters at a meet.
Yeah.
That's what spotters at meets are for. It's not what training is for. A. B. If you give yourself permission to bail out from under a squat anytime it gets hard, guess what you're going to do?
Yeah, bail more often.
You're going to bail out from under a squat anytime it gets hard. No, don't do that.
Okay.
We do not do that. Absolutely, we don't do that.
Right.
You shouldn't be missing a squat. If you miss a squat, something's wrong. You didn't read the first 3 questions article.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Don't learn to bail out from under a squat.
Okay. I kind of thought that was the answer.
Yeah, that's the answer. Okay?
So I have a schedule change coming up. I work in the hospital. I often work 14-hour shifts. I'm going to be working a lot of nights starting in July.
Right.
So I have this kind of shifting schedule. It's very erratic, lots of night shifts, and I feel like I'm constantly going to be shooting at a moving target programming-wise on what days I have available to train, what I can train. And I just want to know if you guys had any experience with people working these kind of overnight schedules.
Sure.
And are there any specific things that I should consider when, like, times to train? Is it better in the morning when I get off, or to sleep some and then get up, work out before going back to work? Things like that.
Well, you just learn how to hit the moving target. Right? I mean, most productive people don't have the option of a perfect training schedule. You know, we deal with this all the time. You just have to do the best you can do. You know, I mean, firefighters typically those guys are on a 24 on, 48 off situation. You know, doctors on call. You know, everybody's got schedule problems. You just do the best you can do. It may require some adjustments in your eating situation. You know, you don't want to train tired if you can help it, but sometimes you have to. You know, you just do the best you can do. But did you have any specific question about it? What?
No, nothing specific. I just didn't know if in your experience you saw some things that were specifically should stay away from. For example, the training time is a big one. Some people
It's
in the
pretty individual.
is it?
Yeah.
So okay.
I'm not going to train first thing in the morning because I'm just not going to fucking do it.
Right.
I don't want to train that bad. You know, I'd much rather train at midnight than 6 a.m.
Yeah, I don't have any experience
But-
with it yet. I just wondered
But
if there's anything.
Lots of people
look forward
train
to,
at
yeah.
6 a.m.
So I've noticed a correlation between how I perform in the gym and my menstrual cycle.
No.
For
Question we get every time.
Oh, do you
This is
really?
becoming our
No, it's
Okay.
common.
children.
Okay.
It's common.
Well, that's good. Okay. So, for example, like 7 days before I'm supposed to start my menstrual cycle, I feel strong, and I hit my lifts, and I
That's kind of typical.
right.
I don't know.
Okay.
So Jordan's actually looked into this before. Based on the evidence that he found, it suggested that there wasn't a lot of correlation between cycles and periods. That it was
Really?
perhaps
Supertentorial?
more of a either like a placebo or like a self-confirming kind
Right.
of thing, where like you know it's coming, and then you get your lifts in before it hits, and then when it hits, you're like, oh, everything's going to shit, and you start performing badly. I don't know the true answer. I don't know the data on it. I haven't read it myself to give you a very informed opinion on it,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that was my question. If you had any females that you trained or that
Oh, we
kinda
all train.
Yeah.
took
women,
advantage
you know,
of it. I mean,
And it's.
in programming.
I would
or-
say that it's, you know, that's going to be one of these deals that you have to sort out for yourself,
Right.
just like him. If you have extremely heavy periods, you know, like critical blood loss kind of thing. You know, you're going to have to do something about that. You know.
Why are you so pale?
No, I mean, my thing is, I've noticed that, like I said, 7 days before, I feel like real strong, hit my lifts, and then when I do start, like sometimes I can't even break a deadlift off the floor. Like I can't contract as strong, or I feel like really flexible like in my squat.
I think.
If it's very convincing to you, then you'll just need to program according to that
Okay.
cycle.
All right.
Just the way it's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're
right.
you're essentially going to be doing your novice stuff 3 weeks, and then take a light week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
It's fine. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do.
I have all
You-
my women track. And then
Really?
we just
So-
do it according, they're all different, yeah. And
Okay.
then you just get to know how you are. Like,
Okay.
and then train and then kind of program.
Do you see a correlation between performance and either pre or post? What's your
I have them on younger lifters. They seem to be stronger a little bit before. And then
Really?
during, can't do anything for a couple days. Like you said, they couldn't even peel it off the floor, can't pick up the bar.
Right.
Yeah. And then they come back just as strong, like nothing ever happened.
Right.
So I just.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks on, 1 week light, maybe. Have to do it like that.
Okay.
Okay? Right?
Okay, so we were kind of talking about a little bit in programming that your ability to get your genetic potential decreases with age. Does the actual genetic potential decrease, or just the ability to reach it?
Your genes are your genes.
So that's
Genetic potential doesn't change. It's just
It's whether you're
every little bitty cell's got the same DNA, you know. But your ability to utilize that genetic endowment to make the right proteins at the right time changes with age. So yeah, it'd be real neat if we were all 19,
right.
right? But no, we're not.
So I'm 45. I did the novice program for about 2 months, and I just felt pretty useless and just walking around. So I read the first three.
The first three questions. Yeah.
And so I guess my question regarding that is, are there definitive answers, you know, as far as, so rest times, 7 minutes between sets sometimes for me. Eating, I'm gaining about 1 pound a week. Are these things that are just, well, then you need to eat more, or you need to rest even longer? Or is it, you know, is there a yes or no to these questions? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
It's,
There's, you know,
do you
I
rest
mean,
12 minutes, or do you just
you
keep
rest as
doing
long
these
as you need to
things?
rest between sets.
And then if you're
Yeah.
not hitting the rep, then that's the answer, that there's something else.
The
going
first
on.
thing you do is lengthen the time between sets. And if you need to lengthen the time between sets from 7 minutes to 9 minutes, I never timed it. I just know when I'm ready to go,
Okay.
right? I think trying to be too quantitative sometimes is kind of a problem. I mean, there's no universal rule that says X number of minutes is the rest. I think you should develop the ability to know when you're ready to get under the bar again,
Okay.
right? If you're going too fast, it'll become rather apparent real quick. You miss the 5th rep, right? By the same token, you don't want to get cold. But as a general rule, you ought to stray on the side of more rest rather than less rest. More rest is going to be less of a problem for your workout than too little rest.
Okay. So I address those things. I've increased it, and it's like all throughout the week. I'm just feeling shot.
You're 45.
Yes.
You had your testosterone checked.
No. The fourth question.
In fact, that's the fourth question.
Okay.
That's the fourth question. Yes.
You try to deal with, so we've kind of got the stress set for the linear progression. The stress is set. You think about the stress recovery adaptation. So the very first thing you do is you have to make sure it is recovery adequate, right? Is rest period enough? Sleeping enough? Am I eating enough? If you honestly look at those things and say, I've done everything I can to make sure I've maximized recovery, and I'm still not recovering, then the stress is too high, and you've got to back off on the stress. Now, I can't squat 3 times a week now. I'm 45 years old, or I have to squat 1 lighter day. Right? But you increase the recovery first before you decrease the stress.
Right, because we kind of know what stress works for most people. So we're going to kind of stick with our guns on that and assume that something else is wrong. And what's wrong usually is you're going too quick between sets. You're not eating enough. You took a 5-pound jump when you needed to take a 2-pound jump, right? Get your test checked. Okay?